So we're going to go ahead and do a live stream, but we're going to live stream the podcast. So it should be fun. Um, Once I finish up the notes here from the podcast. I apologize. I haven't had lunch today, so I'm eating a flatbread. All right, let's see how we're doing over here. What's up, guys? Let me get over here. I know this is like fascinating TV. We're going to do the podcast here in just a moment. Let me do this. And then go here to YouTube and do questions. Okay, almost ready. Alrighty, ready. A few things to update folks about on Tangled, and we're gonna do questions from the thing, or questions from the YouTube channel. Community. Let's go over here. See who has actually followed format. A question, colon, whatever the question is. Hi. More than one. Okay. Okay. All right, we got that. That'll be good. Almost ready to go, guys. Almost ready to go. Get any questions into the chat that you happen to have around teleport, portals, anything else there, and we will get those covered here in podcast. First time doing a live recording a podcast in a while. This will be kind of fun. Tangled. Okay. Okay. And then moving to, I need to do a video. Okay. Okay. Hey, Alking. Okay. All right, we should be ready to go here. I think I'm almost good. Let me get this rolling where it belongs. There's a bunch of news and no news, so it'll be interesting to see how this all goes. Portals. Here we go. Discussion. I don't think there is a discussion topic that we want to do. Oh, there may be a discussion topic that we need to do. Hold on here. I'm not supposed to do a discussion topic because we're already done. Yeah. Actually, this may go a long time because I may film 2 videos after this podcast. So we'll see how that goes in just a moment. Let me finish this up here. Actually, this is going in the core video. Okay. Alrighty then. Who we got? What do we got? Anybody else around? All right, here we go. We'll get this rolling now. Oh, we got a few folks around. Guys, let me know if there's anything coming in. We will do questions. That'll be left open because I'm going to blaze right into podcast here. All right. Podcast, questions, your questions. Okay. Here we go. All right, guys. So for everybody in the chat, we're going to be recording a live podcast here, and I will interact with the chat once we get to the questions section of the podcast. I may check it intermittently at each one of the kind of sections, but we'll run through it. So if you have any questions that you want me to address, go ahead and put them up over there, and we'll go from there. All right, editor, you can get from here. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Slant3D podcast, the show about 3D printing and our place inside the industry. Today, we're going to talk about all kinds of news and also no news at all because Formnext is going on. We're some big updates on the API, talking through a little bit of teleport and portals, of course, and a new price reduction over on Tangle. Finishing it up with an interview with Shop Nation. Had Travis back on. He's coming back around, so you can skip ahead to that if you really want to. And, of course, answering your questions. But before all that, let's go ahead and pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Teleport. Are you tired of running 3D printers yourself and having to pack boxes, ship boxes, keep printers running, and find filament that actually stays the same color? Are you tired of having to run your Etsy store, answer messages, and to run a print farm on the side? You might want to try out Teleport. Teleport plugs right into your Etsy store so that as soon as you get an order, it is printed and shipped straight to your customer for you. No longer do you have to keep a print farm running or find out what the best machine is or lose time with your family this season. You can instead just plug in Teleport and any order you get will be shipped directly to your customer for you. It can be international, it can be local, it can be down the street. But either way, you get access to 1,000 machines to keep you running even though you're no longer working. So kick up your legs and relax because now you can let Teleport run your business for you so that you can focus on designing awesome products and taking better care of your customers. So check out Teleport today over at slantpod.com. That's slantpod.com. Teleport will connect to TikTok Shop, Shopify, and Etsy and can be used by anyone running a 3D printing business. You sign up is free, and there are no costs associated to using Teleport. All right, moving into the news. So there's a few pieces of news. We're going from TCT here this week. There's a lot of news that is just kind of corporate news this week that's not like individual, like big pieces of news. So what I wanted to do was just run through and kind of upgrade all these things. So the first one, just quick, rapid fire. Stratasys introduces series of materials and software updates for Polymer 3D printing profile. Stratasys says the new capabilities will support industrial users as they continue to leverage. FDM upgrades the most significant volume of product enhancements. A new coat-ready print mode for the LTEM 908. Stratasys is launching the LTEM 985 filament CG for the F330 system. Greater predictive control for SLA, enhanced accuracy for SAF, and new material and accessories for the P3. If that's you, anybody, there you go. That's the news. All right, next one. next piece of news. Stoke Aerospace, I think it's Stoke Aerospace. It might be Stoke Space. Stoke invests in 5 metal fab 420K 3D printers to support reusable rocket production. If you don't know, Stoke Space is based in Washington, and they are designing a fully reusable rocket to orbit that uses a very interesting re-entry methodology and a very interesting takeoff methodology. They're basically using an aerospike in order to get the lift that they want from all this stuff. All right, next piece of news. Intrepid Automation appoints Rich Carone as new CEO. Protolabs expands Extra 3D offering with 4 new materials. The digital manufacturing service provider currently runs multiple Extra 3D Lumina X1 units after installing its first system just a year ago. These latest additions to its advanced photopolymers for 3D printing profile, which has been fully optimized by Extra 3D, include tough engineering and ESD materials from Loctite. Yeah, they're doing some more stuff there. 3D Printer OS expands to Bamboo Lab machines. 3D Print UK installs 2 new HP multi-jet fusion systems. $38 million Airbus-led DEXAM program to scale additive manufacturing for next-gen aircraft, and 500 3D printed bunkers delivered to the Indian Army. They are actually 3D printed bunkers. Mycobi deployed its rapid 3D concrete printing technology along with proprietary designs and materials to manufacture the bunkers. More than 500 impact and blast-resistant 3D printed bunkers were delivered to the Indian Army. The bunkers were designed by Mycobi in close alignment with the operational needs. By automating the building process, they were able to reduce construction time from 45 days to less than 7. Delivering 500 3D printed bunkers. So they weren't delivered. They weren't dropped on a truck. Mycobi has a house 3D printer, and they printed up these bunkers for them. All right, next piece of news. Again, all this stuff, like there's not a lot of discussion to be had with a bunch of these things, but there's a bunch of them. Formnext coming down the pipe here over the next couple of weeks. So there will be more announcements, mainly around machinery and even consumer products. So we won't see too many of that. And then Anisoprint founder Fedor Antonov steps back from CTO role as company focuses on consumer 3D printing segment. Tigers, and that's into the news from last week or so. So, a lot of stuff happening. It's not that big of a deal when a couple of MJF systems go in, but there it is. This was all per TCT because TCT had the concentration of 3D printing news this week. So that was how that went. All right, moving into company updates. Let's go ahead and check time here. All righty. Man, I am so good. That is right on the button in 6 minutes since the recording started, which means it's probably more like 5 minutes, but is what it is. Okay, API V2. We just released API V2. You can check it out over at slantapi.com, slant3dapi.com. Or you can go to slant3d.com, go to API, over in services. There it is. The API we just released has several new features inside of it. The big part of it was allowing people to build applications where the API would do all of the heavy lifting. So it has better batch processing. You can upload files to it and then reference those files by file ID so that in our old API, every time an order came through, the file had to be sent for that order. But now we effectively add as a file service for you, so you can upload STLs, store them inside of our API, and then call them and reference those files again to send them through into orders. There's also been some updates around just speed and functionality. It gives better feedback about status of orders. So it'll say printing, packing, shipping, here's tracking number. All of that is in the new API. And we have integrated payments going in. They will be released here in the next couple of weeks as a follow-on from the API. But right now, API V2 is running teleport and portals. Any developer who wants to use it, it is free to get a hold of. So if you want to get 1,000 3D printers to just plug into whatever your application is, you can do that. However, what we also did when we built this version of the API and did the documentation for it, documentation is better than API V1. The documentation for it has a single packet that you can download and add into context in Claude or inside of OpenAI, any of the AI coders, Lovable, whatever it happens to be. You can add in that piece of context, and then those AIs will be able to develop apps around our API, which is terribly, terribly useful. We did want people to be able to vibe code with the Slant3D API and just build a cookie cutter maker that then prints off cookie cutters for people and ships them to them. This was something that we just wanted to try. So the API is very well packaged to allow anybody to work with it. It is a software package. If you have never worked with an API before, generally you need to be a software developer or a vibe coder, which I never thought was like a category of job, but it is one. If you're a vibe coder, you can work with it now too. But that new API went out a week or two ago. We'll be pushing on it a lot more and doing more demos here in the spring. But like it's functional and it's there, so it's available for you if during Christmas break you want to do some tests and some experiments. All right, but that's the updates to the API. Alrighty then, going on to the next thing. Tangled filament, our $10 per spool filament. Still $10 per spool. But we have had members and non-members inside of Tangled. Tangled, the non-members have always been a bit more expensive because the reason we created the membership was so that we could predict how much demand there is per month and match that. Tangled has been around for a year, or a little bit more than a year now. So now we have a year's worth of data about how people order it, and we're using that to now make it cheaper for non-members. Not as cheap as for members, but cheaper. So right now we just did a price reduction on non-member filament on Tangled, and 1 kg spools are $13, and a 3 kg spool is $45. So you no. The 1 kg spools they're $12. 1 kg spools are $12 per spool. And the 3 kgs are $35 for one spool because you save a little bit of effort on all the spools there. So that is there. That's working well. Yeah, we should be in good shape. I don't think there's anything else there. That should keep us alive and keep us rolling. Tangled's running. We have a few updates coming to it that will make them EMS compatible and that kind of stuff here in the next couple months, but it probably won't come until after Christmas. But yeah, Tangled right now, if you remember, you can get Tangled for $10 a spool. In fact, even a little bit less. We may have done a price reduction over there too. But yeah, if you remember on Tangled, you can get it for $10 per spool. And then if you're a non-member, you can get it for $12 per spool. That's basically where it bottoms out right there. Still black PLA. If you want Polymaker filament, you can get it pretty darn cheap over there on Tangled. Okay, updates now for portals and teleport. A lot of updates over here. So portals, we've been increasing the speed of the website. Many people may have started noticing more traffic to their portals once you publish. This has been us both continuing to improve Google SEO, and we have started running ads on portals. So some people have ads sent straight to their portal on their behalf because we want you guys to have sales. So we pay for the marketing of it. This is an experimental phase right now. Once we have it kind of nailed down, we'll allow people to like pay $20 and we'll go spend it on Facebook for you so that you can promote your portal. Once we get this upfront kind of testing done, that'll be coming through. Then teleport, we tightened up teleport a little bit. There's been some feature releases over there. On portals, here in the next week or so, you should start to see, well, there's a release coming for portals around files that'll be coming in the next week or so. Okay, hidden features for teleport and portals. Yeah, we did want to talk about this real fast. So there's a few things inside of teleport and portals that people really don't realize. The first one, and kind of the most obvious one, is the fact that there's an instant refund policy in teleport and portals. Like, we care a lot about the quality. So if anybody has any issue with an order at all they have to do is cancel the order and the order will be canceled for them. We're very generous about that. We don't ask questions. If somebody has an issue with the part, we refund the part. It just works better. So the instant refund is something that people don't really realize is there. The other hidden feature, which is a little bit more recent, is you can do custom inserts for both teleport and portals. This is a premium feature, but a feature nonetheless. If you want, you can create a custom 4x6 insert that when an order from one of your customers comes through, that insert card will print off with the label and will be put into the box with it. So that card can have QR codes, it can have instructions, it can have your own branding, store branding, a thank you card, a thank you note. It could be a custom message if you really want to. The things we've seen people do with this are instructions for individual portals and teleport items. So like this is how you put together the lamp. QR codes to like thank you videos have been one that I've seen a couple times. But yeah, those custom inserts are there. It is black and white, and you do have to have it fit on a 4x6 card, but it is there. And then the third one that's big is third-party components. Like you can include a light puck, a wireless charger, ball bearings, marbles, screws, nuts, bolts. Those can all be included with your items inside of portals. And lately, we've been very generous with adding those in. So if you need something, you can pretty much just send an email into support at support@slant3d.com and say, hey, I need this size magnet or whatever it was. And we've been pretty much taking anything anybody asks for. So it's going, so that's available to you. So those are like 3 hidden features that people don't utilize like enough. Well, we don't want you to use instant refund more often, but with if you had any problems with orders, because it just holds us accountable really well. And then, yes, the custom inserts and third-party parts. These are all really good ways of improving the value of your products. So I recommend everybody use them because they're just very useful. They're fantastically valuable to people. But yeah, so those are updates and new things inside of Teleport and Portals. But now, let's go ahead and roll into questions. And this podcast was recorded live during live stream here, so I'm going to turn over here and read the chat. So if anybody in chat has any questions, this is your time to get them in. I'll read the chat questions, and then I'll read the ones that are stored up over the last couple of weeks from people commenting on videos. We are, if you want to have a question get answered on the show, just comment question, whatever your question is, and I will get them covered. All right, what do we got, chat? How exactly does it connect to your store, and how does it know which print is which? Because I've tried using Teleport, I just don't know if it would work when I get a sale. So when you inside Teleport, when you get an order comes into Teleport. What it does is a button will pop up next to that order that says match, and you will match, and you will click on match, and your file list will pop up. Select the file that goes with that order, or a group of files. You can select multiple. You can have 5 files connected to one part. But the fundamental kind of functionality of how it works is it looks for the SKU of the product, and then it matches those files to that SKU. The other way you can do it is manually inside a Teleport. If you go to your matches page, you can go to create match, and then you can enter in a SKU, the SKU number that is on like the Etsy item, and then you can match up the files that go with that SKU. And then when an order shows up with that SKU number in it, those parts will print for that. So that's how you do that. It's a pretty simple process. Video over on slantpod.com or slantpod here on YouTube explaining how to create matches. There's 3 or 4 videos actually on it. So there should be some good examples. We even have the live full build and setup of Teleport if you ever want to watch that. It's an hour long, but it has chapters. Next question. If I want to sell a set of 2 things that are identical, but I can put them in one portal without a brim or platform to connect them, you can do that if you have a multiple in a thing. We recommend matching up one item on a print bed and just saying print 2 of these. That's better. But if you're only doing 2 items, you can put 2 of them on a print bed and have them print as a single file. That's okay. You don't put more than 5 things on a print bed. If you're batching heavier than that, you'll end up having problems. How much money do y'all make on YouTube versus your app? We make almost no money on YouTube. YouTube is the YouTube channel and everything else that we do is designed to be a feature of all of our other services. So like the educational materials, the design for videos, those are all meant to help people use Teleport and Portals better. So yeah, we don't heavily monetize these channels. We've tried sponsorships and that kind of stuff, but we don't make a living here. We make a living with our giant print farm out there because we got thousands of machines operating and making parts for people. The YouTube is the way of helping people do it right. Is there a weird fuzz right there? No, I guess not. Okay. Okay. For license files like lampshade diffusers, where the maker recommends 8 to 12% infill, would these work with 25% infill? Yes, they will work with 25% infill. Oh, also, we have allowed, there will be an update coming out in Teleport Teleport and Portals here in probably in the next week or so, to where vase mode for lampshades will be activated. So you'll be able to get all that done too. So lampshades will be really easy. Our current profiles work fine, so you can update a lampshade, but it's just important to have the lampshade be uh, not a solid body, but a thin-walled 1 millimeter thick body, and then it prints fine. So yeah. Moobs McGee. I have a design that requires a 1/4 inch shaft for a drill or impact driver. Would you supply it? Yeah, go ahead and email support@slant3d.com and we can get those included for you. And to be a partner in Australia, huge market here, and genuinely think it's a perfect product. Um, we'd be open. Well, I'm sorry, man. Uh, we don't work with external print farms. The reason we don't is because the systems that we have are so tightly integrated that if we change anything or anything else, we can't just we don't email files to people because number one, that's really dangerous because you can lose people's files, and we're really sensitive about protecting people's files. But also, like existing print farms don't generally have the operational scale that's necessary to do it. We're working on getting a print farm over in Australia, but as we think about it, like operationally, the United States is the number one market on the planet, and we have not fully saturated it yet. So we have to make sure that the services are just as good as possible and as good as they can be here, and then we can move into other stuff. So that's kind of how we think about it. Why is ABS considered a dead material? Oh, because ASA is better in every way than ABS. ASA is less toxic, ASA is more UV resistant, ASA still vapor smooths, ASA does not warp as badly, ASA has better interlayer adhesion. I don't know what ABS is used for at all. The only reason ABS ever existed is because it's the default material for injection molding, so it was around to be extruded, and then people started using it. But it's a garbage material for 3D printing. It's unstable, it's very toxic, and it has no features that other materials don't have better. ASA is more heat resistant than ABS. Well, it might not be. I'll double check myself on that one. I'm not sure what the classification temp is on ASA versus ABS, but ASA is a better material, just completely. Um, it's okay if I order a box of all the third-party parts I want to design around. I can just create a prototype without an actual print being created and send it to myself. Yeah, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. Right now, inside the prototyper on Teleport, you're able to go through and order your own items. I think there's a functional way of doing it right now, but if you want to hack it, you can go to the prototyper inside of Teleport, add all the parts, and add one 3D model. And then you get all the way to end, and then you delete the 3D model from checkout, and then it'll just take the third-party parts, and we'll ship them all to you. What about having 2 to 3 slicer settings for strength, like base, normal, and strong, that change wall and infill? Because we already have strong. The settings right now for teleport are set up that way. Vase will be added in. We have support and no support, and then a normal. A part just needs to be strong because the thing people need to realize is that like a lot of people who aren't 3D printing um, nerds, sorry, uh, 3D printing fans. Yeah, people who aren't 3D printing nerds like all of us don't know the difference between infill settings and that kind of stuff. So normal and strong, everybody would default to strong because why wouldn't you want the part to be strong? So we just simplify the thing and make it everything strong, and that tends to be better. And it's not the optimization that comes from it just isn't really worth it. So it's just better to make sure everything's over engineered for everybody. All right. What about what sort of packing lines do you guys have? The company I work for makes secondary packaging machines for forming cardboard boxes, loading them, closing them, and putting them on pallets. We do have those machines. We actually have a video over on like the Tangled channel, I believe, talking about our tape packing machines. We right now we have about 4 or 5 primary packing stations that parts go through and get packed up, and it's really similar to like Amazon, with somebody throwing the part in the box, making sure it's wrapped in the blue crinkle paper, and then sending it out the door. Okay. Appreciate that. No, yeah, no problem. Pix 3. Okay, fair enough then. I think that's all the questions that I can spot that are complete there over there. All right, so we'll go to normal questions here inside the YouTube. Let's see here. What do we got? Question: any way to feed custom text for each order? This is an important feature for me. Specifically, I want my Etsy item to have the option of some added text customization, and I'm willing to automate sending the new customized STL file for that order. You can do this. The way of doing it is to basically set your item up as a custom item inside of Etsy, and then with no SKU, and then when it comes in to teleport, you can match up the file that goes with that order, and that is the way of getting it done. So you can upload custom items that way. It's not that bad because each order comes in and it just says match, so you click match, and then you upload the STL that goes along with it. Question: what about using the gyroid generator that Fusion includes? Oh, this is about increasing part strength through like micro features. You can use the gyroid interior from Fusion, and it's fine. It'll just increase print time because it's not very efficient. Question: something I've been wanting would also answer the question. Will you be adding an option for coupon codes to portals? Right now, I can upload the same thing again with lower price. I'll give a coupon link. I'm not sure what that question is. There will be an affiliate program coming to Teleport and Portal. So if you have friends who are interested in doing it, we will set up an affiliate program to where if they make a sale, the affiliate will get a portion of the sales revenue. So that will be coming out here very soon so that people can share it around. And yeah, that'll be great. Can I place an order for the color patches of all 17 of your filaments? You can upload a model and have them all printed. We're working on doing like a sample swatch kit, but the issue with this is that you don't need all 17 colors. Design your product and pick the color that you need it to be, and then have that product in that color or a couple of the colors. Swatches for product design just aren't very good unless you're really going to design 17 or 100 different products. That being said, we're trying to get it out there to where there's these default little order kits of like swatches, third-party parts, all those things, to where we have these little starter kits for people. Yeah, we basically just need to be able to teleport build kit. That's a box of like the primary, most popular third-party components, and then a color swatch set. Maybe like a spool of filament that's one of them too. Question: what are the pitfalls of My Mini Factory launching their print program? My Mini Factory had their thing like years ago. It's an SLA one for miniatures. I don't know much about it, so I can't talk to that much very much. Question: are you going to allow animated GIFs on portals that are demonstrating their use? We are working on this. We're working on getting videos uploaded and included on Teleport and Portals so that people can share. The easy way to do it: upload a whole bunch of pictures, and then people can click through it and see it move. But yes, actually, I'm not sure that it doesn't allow GIFs right now. Actually, you may be able to upload a GIF inside of some of the photo ones. I haven't tried it. I'm not sure if we had that as like a mulligan when we did it, so I'm not certain. Okay, let's see here. Okay. What are your thoughts on upgrading packaging for the tangled spools? We've done the upgraded stuff. We continue to always work with vacuum forming. Vacuum forming is tough, but the biggest improvement we have on that is a change in spools. So we're running through the inventory of our old black spools, and then we will be using new spools, and those will be better. So that will be coming down here fairly soon. Is there ever a future for a large scale printer like 500 by 500 to become a part of your business? No, we won't be ever doing large format like that. It's just not, it's not useful. And it doesn't have scale. Like everything we do, we talk about scale. and 85% of plastic parts fit inside of there. And we got $500 billion worth of stuff to be made that fits inside of there. So like, we just don't need it. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. Any other questions? I'll come back to chat here in just a second. So if you guys have any questions, get them in there and I'll run through them. The real question is, as a print service, how do you deal with prints that require assembly? We don't. Right now, we don't assemble parts, but this is the thing that I was talking about, that insert card earlier. Upload instructions, and then you can send people basically an IKEA package of 3D printed parts that they can put together. But it's just not reliable for us to do all the assembly, because if we put that in, then it increases our costs. It also increases error rate. We have to put another line into the place that's for assembly. There's got to be a critical mass. If we did assembly, anybody who wanted assembly would have to have a minimum of like somewhere between 100 and 1,000 parts per month in order to have us train people to do assembly on those things. So it's very difficult. Okay. Are we going to have unlisted profiles and portals to avoid copycats? Yes, that will be coming out. Right now, when you publish a portal, it becomes searchable on Google, and you can enable the portal to hide it and that kind of stuff. But then nobody can look at it. So we will be doing only people who basically like Google Docs, where only people who have the link can view it, and then deal with that. And then you can have it public and findable, and that'll let people differentiate if you really want to keep your stuff hidden and in your central area. But yeah, that's the way to do it. All right, coming over to chat. Let's see what we got in chat. What do we got? Thanks for all the videos. They've been super helpful. Oh, thanks, man. Hey, in the Neil stack. Are you aware of methods to make parts food safe? I hear nozzle contamination can be an issue, and layer lines also. Okay, editor, if you're watching this, cut this out, post it someplace as a short. 3D printing is food safe. This entire myth around 3D printing not being food safe is completely ridiculous. And this is just it is an internet rumor that 3D printing is food safe. Here's one of the biggest myths around 3D printing food safety. There's lead in the nozzle and it'll get in my parts. No, there's not. That is a rumor that people thought that low-grade brass nozzles from China had lead included in them, and therefore it would make the part unusable. But here's the thing. We ran the math on this, and literally, if you printed with a lead nozzle that scraped away as you printed like a single kilogram, it would still not be a significant amount of lead inside of your thing. So the trace part, teeny tiny possibility that isn't even proven that there might be lead in low-grade brass from nozzles from 10 years ago is just wrong and doesn't exist. It's an internet rumor. Well, the reason I'm ramped on this is because we're doing a video about this and I've been working on the script. This is complete bupkis. The other thing that people talk about is, the layer lines grow mold and that kind of stuff. Do you have a wooden cutting board? Do you have a plastic cutting board that somebody has cut something on? Do you have a bunch of cuts in it, a bunch of cracks, a bunch of grooves for stuff to grow into? Okay, and then lastly, people say, it leaks in and then it gets into the infill and mold grows inside of the infill. Again, you're kind of dealing with a trace thing, because even if I had the bubonic plague growing inside the infill of a part, it can only leak out so fast. So you pretty much cook it out. That's not a good excuse. That's not a good one. But I'm just putting it in context here of like, go eat some dirt. Your world is not sterile. Nothing in the world is sterile. So, but the 3D prints getting it into the infill, this is knowing how to manufacture the print so that the infill doesn't fill up with juices that are going to grow and have rotting blood inside of it. Also, why are you filling up the 3D printed parts with raw eggs? Which, by the way, raw eggs don't leach into the infill of the 3D print. They only get to the layers because the surface tension of the raw eggs is too high to leak anywhere into the part. Water, I'm pretty sure, even has surface tension too high to leak into the part without a long continuous exposure and a full cup down at the bottom of it all. So all of the contamination issues with 3D prints are just ridiculous. Now, that all being said, when I recommend using 3D printed parts, I recommend using it on dry foods, flour, cookies, cooking, pouring out cups, oils, all stuff is fine. 3D prints are gonna have any problem or any more problems than other stuff you have inside of your kitchen. It's okay. But now, do you wanna make a water bottle out of a 3D print? No, because it's tough to clean. So you want stuff that is cleanable. 3D prints are tough to clean, but even this is fixable by printing them in a plastic that you can stick inside of a dishwasher so some soap and water can get at them. Don't put a 3D print at the bottom of your stack of dishes that you have in your little hovel where you're a college kid and you don't ever clean anything. That's a bad place for a 3D print to be because some germs and bacteria will get in there. Oh, here's the thing. A piece of bacteria is 10 microns. The largest cracks or biggest pieces of pores inside of a 3D print are about 50 to 80 microns. So you got 10 bacteria side by side going into these places. But like, again, all of this, the food safety of 3D printing is such an overblown issue and in 90% of the cases is completely irrelevant. Also, lastly, food safe is not a universal factor. Food safety is like child safe. It has to be tested and verified on a product by product basis in order to say anything is food safe. An injection molded part isn't food safe unless it goes through those qualifications and gets the certification. So this whole idea that 3D printing isn't food safe, no, nothing is food safe until you go through it all. And if you design a part well and use correct manufacturing processes, a 3D print can be perfectly food safe, especially if it's in a particular use. So, for example, this bottle right here could totally be 3D printed. You know why? Because it's full of pills. It doesn't matter. Also, other thing, if people are like, oh, the microplastics inside of the 3D print, it's unhealthy or whatever else it was. Somebody else did a really good little demo of this. They're like, okay, if your normal amount of microplastic that you get from a plastic water bottle is this much right here. The amount of microplastics that come out from a 3D print are this much up here. But the amount of microplastics that you get from eating a salad out of a plastic wrapped package is way up here. So it doesn't matter. Darn it, editor, cut out that cough. But yes, the food safety thing is so completely bupkis. Go make your cookie cutters or your cups or your pill holders or pill organizers. It's all fine. The food safety police who are out there all the time are all completely wrong. Unless you're trying to high pressure flow raw eggs through this print, it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, what was the next question? I would love to have a reverse coupon code where I can charge people I know more money. I don't know what you're going. Oh, I get what you're saying. I have all the filament colors that you have on portals. Awesome, fantastic. Yeah, a lot of the primary colors on portals are actually from color makers, so people could source it. We have a list over there on the Slant Pod website of the colors. All right. How would you price a thing to sell on Etsy? Right now I have a thing there, but I include shipping and the total price of the standard 30% markup using the total price including shipping. Double whatever your manufacturing cost is minimum. And that includes the cost of shipping. So if it costs you $10 to make it, $5 to ship it, you should sell it for $30. That's a good baseline rule. The other baseline rule is the rule of threes. Whatever your cost of manufacturing is, you should triple it. That's what pays for your marketing, pays for other people to help, all the rest of it. If you're pricing lower than that, you're too low. Folks would be screwed otherwise. Cookie cutter folks are fine. You guys have no idea how many cookie cutters we make for the last 10 years. Not 10 years, 7 years, however long we've been around. Cookie cutters are not a problem. Okay. All right. Fair enough then. Hey, in a needle stack. Awesome answer about the food safe stuff. Thanks, man. Alrighty, that's it, guys. We're gonna wrap up Core Podcast. Coming up, we have an interview with Travis over at Shop Nation. We shot this interview several weeks ago. Actually, it might be months ago now at this point. But we were doing a series of interviews for the podcast this year. And if you don't know Travis, Travis is the leader of Shop Nation, which is a YouTube channel that focuses on woodworking and building out your shop, organizing it. He's a very good YouTuber. But he also operates a very good business selling shop accessories for shop saws and different sorts of things. He's been a client in the past. We've known each other for a while because, quite frankly, we look really similar. If you see us side by side, it doesn't look good. And we had to do this podcast just to put the rumors to rest that we're the same person. We're not totally different, just Midwestern guys with beard, bald, and hat. So it's just the way the life is. But this interview was a lot of fun. We got to talk about YouTube quite a bit, so it was a little bit off kilter from what we normally do. So enjoy this interview and have a great day, everybody, and see you next week. All right, stream. I'll stick around here for a bit because I do have to film a couple more videos, but that's the end of the actual podcast. So if you're watching this right now, then you'll be able to see this on Sunday after the full edit, which is not much of an edit. Fight Like a Brave. Yeah, colors. Yeah, go over there to slantpod.com and go to the blog and pull Portal's colors, and all the colors will be listed there with links to where to buy them. It might be affiliate links. I don't know, but you'll be able to get them. Disposable hot dog forks. When they melt, you know the hot dog is done. Yeah, there you go. Not a bad idea. All right. Next thing, I gotta do a video. So I gotta do a couple videos here. I need to do the hidden features of teleport. So some of you guys saw this. Let me go to a different video because you guys who have been around here for a bit probably want something slightly more interesting than that. So let me do this. Excuse me. Okay. Here we go. Ready to film. Ready to film. Ready to film. I just list. We rebuilt teleport 3 times. Okay. All right. So you guys are gonna get kind of a treat here. We are going to let me see what else. Wow, we've been going for an hour already. This is great. If anybody has any other questions, knock them out really fast here. But I'm going to do a video here. This video is called "We Rebuilt Teleport 3 Times," which is a true story. We did rebuild teleport 3 times. Let's go ahead and film this. So we built this print-on-demand application called Teleport, which lets anybody plug their e-commerce store into our giant print farms. But what most people don't realize is that we had to rebuild this thing about 3 times before we finally got where we are with portals, where you don't even need a marketplace anymore. So let me just roll it back. Slant3D started as a mass production company. We would make parts of like 10 to 100,000 pieces as an alternative to molds. We did this because a mold is really expensive. You have to spend $10,000 and then you get your first part. But that was a good business and we were growing it, but we knew that over time it would commoditize. And there was much more value in the technology of 3D printing as being a print-on-demand option rather than being an injection molding machine that just happens to be a bunch of 3D printers. So about 2 years ago, we started pushing very hard on software. And we built out a software stack to where we had an API and anybody could access our print farm from that API. And we expected, with that obvious capability, that people would plug into that API and build something like Teleport, where people could upload models, match them to an Etsy store, and then get orders printed and shipped. We built the API, spent a lot of time on it, building out that entire system, and then nobody used the API. At which point it was very disappointing because we're like, well, we got all these software developers standing around. Well, what are they going to do now? We're not $1 billion company. So we're like, well, move up the value chain. So what we started with is we built an integration for Etsy. It was called Corduroy. The Etsy integration was built very quickly and built just for Etsy. The reason being is that for each one of these e-commerce platforms, Etsy, eBay, TikTok Shop, name your poison, every one of them has an individual way of talking to them. So you have to build an application for each of them. Shopify has an app store. Etsy has approved app developers at the time. This is 2 years ago. But we built Corduroy. We became an approved developer for Etsy, and we built Etsy Corduroy. And it was actually very successful. When we released it, people enjoyed it. And we had a lot of users who are still with us today. Etsy Corduroy, however, had a problem. We built it, and literally about 3 months later, Etsy changed their policy to where no third-party application could get shipping information from Etsy. This is very important. It sounds mundane, but it's very important. If we are printing items on behalf of our user to ship to their customer, they get an order, we print and ship the item and send it to their customer. If we don't have shipping information, kind of doesn't work. Now, the stopgap here that Etsy suggested was that we just go ahead and have our users copy and paste the address from each order into our app, which for me as a product developer is the stupidest piece of product design anybody could possibly suggest, because you never want your users to have to copy and paste information around. If for no other reason than it being super irritating, it will also be wrong. Something will get missed. A letter will get cropped off the end. People will miss the country code. It's a nightmare. So effectively, what Etsy had done is taken about 6 months worth of software development work and made it irrelevant and killed it. So Etsy Corduroy was burned in the United States. Oddly enough, it still worked internationally because Etsy did not change it for international users who happened to connect with it, because Etsy's like, no, the API only in the States will not share shipping information because the United States is where we make all our money. Everybody else can go to hell and do whatever they want. Who cares? So they ruined Corduroy. Fortunately, in this moment, we had released the Shopify plugin. And the Shopify, again, independent plugin, plugged into Shopify. We got it all set up. We got it all built. About 2 months after the Shopify plugin was done, we went through their approval process, got it on the App Store, and then we turned it loose. And then Shopify changed their API. And they said all developers need to move to this new API, otherwise you will be removed from the store. And we were just like, well, this seems like a recurring theme of platforms not liking us. So we basically took the Shopify plugin and just scrapped it. And we went through and we looked at where everything was. And we were like, okay, there is no way that we can continually build applications for each of these platforms because maintenance will just be too much. And even though those apps were all growing quickly individually, if the platform could just kill us overnight, it completely ruins our applications, and we couldn't be a reliable service to the businesses who are using us to fulfill orders for their deal. So we took everything back to brass studs, and we're like, okay, so we have these two applications. For Shopify, we were duct taping it for a bit. Etsy, we had found kind of a workaround, but it was kind of wonky. And we just looked at it and we're like, okay, we got to do this different. And we ended up finding a solution to where we could connect to all of them. We partnered with the shipping provider that was one of the approved developers for both Shopify and for Etsy, and also happened to integrate with every other e-commerce platform also. And we integrated with them. And then we built an application around them so that our sellers could plug all of their e-commerce stores into one single app. And what's amazing is that this constraint, these problems of blowing up the applications that we had built, allowed us to build one single universal application rather than us having to build an application for each one of the platforms. So it made us much more efficient, and we were able to build a better experience from it. Coincidentally, that company that we were working with 2 months later got purchased by a private equity firm. At which point they made a feature of that application cost $100. All of our users were going to have to start paying $100. We subsidized the people that were original users with us so they were protected. But we were like, damn it, our app is broken again because the platform just kicked us off. And if you happen to work inside of technology, this is a fairly well understood problem that the ground is always moving under your feet. If it's not your partners who are screwing you, your competitors will get you. So we went ahead and we found another partner who was also loved and worked with most platforms we came to find later. But we integrated that partner into it to be an alternative to the first one. They were free, they were good. They didn't work in Canada. And they also had some really stupid upfront verification stuff that was just stupid irritating, but they were getting better. By the way, both of these companies are billion-dollar companies, by the way. I just want to mention that. And both of them are still partners, and both of them have gotten better since we started because we worked with their teams and we were able to work it out so that it just works better now. But it was just very stark how terrible all this stuff was. So we ended up building an API after being a production company. Nobody used the API, so we built Teleport on top of it. Well, we built Corduroy on top of the API. Etsy broke Corduroy, so we built the Shopify plugin, which broke then. And then we went ahead and built Teleport, the first version of Teleport, which was that integration single app. And then we built version 2 of Teleport, which was more robust and had more partners so people could use it. That's 5 iterations to get to Teleport. Still wasn't good enough. Our sellers were having problems. There were certain sellers that we had, like influencers who were like based in other countries like India, and they were not able to create stores that sell inside the United States, which is a fundamental advantage of having our print farm here inside the United States. When you get an order from the US, you can sell inside the US. You don't have to pay international shipping. You're able to you're able to teleport items to the United States. So we were like, a whole bunch of our users can't actually use us. So we were like, you know, we've been screwed by platforms this entire time that we're working with. Let's just do it all ourselves. So we built Portals. Portals is an app where any user can sign up and in 30 seconds upload a model and have it for sale. You upload the model, you get a link, you can share that link around to your Instagram, to your friends and family. You can create a QR code and put it in your restaurant. We don't care. If somebody, once you do that upload, you have a live, active, supported e-commerce store that does taxes, payment processing. We take all the liability for parts and pieces. Like we just took everything and just brought it internal so that we could make sure that our users were having a good experience and our customers were having a good experience. And we released Portals and it worked and people are using it and it's doing well. We have YouTubers who are using it for their merch stores. We have Instagrammers who are selling items from it. It has been such an evolution because when you look at it, you think, yeah, Portals, go ahead, build your own e-commerce store. It's really hard to build your own e-commerce store. And the only reason we were able to build Portals, even though it is the statement of it seems simpler, it is a very complex piece of engineering to get it distilled down to what is important and what isn't. And if we hadn't gone through Corduroy, Shopify plugin, Teleport 1, Teleport 2, and then Portals, we wouldn't have known how to build Portals. So even though we look back on it and we're like, man, it would have been nice if we just skipped across to Teleport or whatever else it was. That's hindsight being 2020. We made the best decisions we could in that moment and we built great products with it. And now we have an even greater product because Portals is so useful and it's such a cleaner experience than any other application has ever been for like print on demand. Because yes, a designer can upload 50 of their models in 20 minutes, have them all listed live, and then anyone in the world can purchase it and have it delivered to them without the designer having to run a print farm or having to deal with setting up a website or setting up an Etsy store or having Etsy have a weird banning day or bot catch them or something like that. All these stupid things that these large companies are not able to deal with. We're able to take care of the people. This was made even stronger by the fact that like Etsy created rules that were really hostile to 3D printed products and sellers who have every right to sell those items. So Portals became a place where people could sell their stuff and do it freely and quickly and easily so that all of these awesome inventions that people have made can now be found by other people who are not 3D printing nerds, who don't know anything about 3D printing and just want an item to be delivered. So sure, it took us 5 bites of the apple and years of work to get this developed, but we're finally here. And Portals is such a fantastic application that enables so many independent inventors, designers, creators to create amazing products that have never been seen before and not have to build a factory in order to get them made. They just have to upload them and then it's available and everything else has been taken care of. So it was a long road to hoe. It was very expensive. It was very hard. And there were a lot of really painful nights and the team worked super hard on it all. But it was not a straight line to Portals. It took a lot of effort and iteration. And I think it's so important for people to understand this because if you're ever working on your own product or you're creating a portal, if it breaks or it doesn't sell on the first try or the first print isn't just right, that's okay. Move on to the next thing, keep on improving, keep on pushing along. And you'll get to something that's eventually really incredible because most people just don't continue. They quit after the first thing goes wrong. But If you're an independent creator, I recommend going ahead and checking out Portals. It's a pretty cool app. Literally, sign in with Google, you're live, and you can have a thing selling in like 30 seconds. Have a great day, everybody. All right, chat, you got anything? Let's see here. What is the best Android 3D modeling software, if there is any? I don't know of any Android 3D modeling softwares. Um, I want to see the available colors actually being held by Gabe to see how it looks in real life and not from photos. Go ahead and go to the filament page on Teleport Pod, and you can see, get a hold of all the filament, and you can go ahead and get all that. You can also order prototypes of your parts. There's great ways of doing it. Okay, let's see here. Stuff that you use for polymakers tutorials. Okay. What is the best? We got a little bit of spam there. Sherlock Holmes, Polymaker not available. We have eSun. Sherlock Holmes, if you have one part, go ahead and pick the color that you want to and just email support at slant3d.com and we'll print a demo of that part for you. We're not going to do it in all the colors because that's just too expensive. But if you just want to see what your part looks like in one of the colors, we can do that and then you can get it uploaded there. Okay. Alrighty then. All right, Neiman. Sorry, man. Okay. Any other questions from folks? We're gonna narrow this all down here. Just about wrap it up. Any other final questions before everybody heads out? Before we all head out? Actually, wait a second. I have one more video to have to do. Okay. Yeah. Chris Beltran. Here we go. All right. Next video, I have to do hidden features of Teleport. So there are 3 features inside of Teleport that are stupidly valuable for increasing the value of your sales, but a lot of people don't use them. So we're just going to run through them in this video real quick. The first hidden feature that nobody's really aware of is third-party parts. You can have your 3D print made, and then you can include light pucks, wireless chargers, screws, nuts, magnets. We have wind-up toys. There are all kinds of different sorts of gadgets. A clock insert. All these things can be included with all of your orders and be made part of the match when you're creating a match. It is a premium feature, but what you can do is you can get a part and you can design a clock that then has a clock included in the back of it all so that your customer actually gets a complete product. And this takes it from a plastic part that could be used as a wireless charger to something that actually is a wireless charger. So it takes it from something that could be worth $10 to something that's worth $50. So we highly recommend using third-party parts because it will increase the value of your sales across the board and give you a big competitive advantage. The second hidden feature that people aren't really aware of are custom insert cards. So if you are a premium user of Teleport, then what you can do is you can create a 4x6 insert card that will be printed and shipped with every one of your orders. You can make this card part of the match to where it works with particular items. So you can include like instruction manuals or a QR code to an assembly video to go along with all your parts. Or you can create one generic one for your store that's like a handwritten thank you note that you scanned in, and then a QR code to your website. We don't mind, go for it. This allows you to get your customers moved where you need them to go and have the resources that they need when they open up the box. And this applies to both Teleport and Portals. It is a 4x6 sheet. It is printed off with every order, and you can just upload a 4x6 PNG image, and that will print out with any of the orders that you want it to. It's a fantastic feature that a lot of people don't realize is available, but is right there if you want to go ahead and use it to improve the customer experience on the backside. And the third and final feature that a lot of people aren't really aware of is we have an unlimited refund policy. Don't abuse it. Don't be a jerk. Don't run your store for free. But if you have any issue with any of your parts or a customer has any issue with any of your parts, you can contact us and we will instantly replace the item for free if you want us to do that. Or there's literally just a refund button that pops up next to the order. You can click that. And if you click that button, you will instantly have the money transferred back. We don't ask questions. We're not going to evaluate it. We're not going to do anything. It is easier for everybody involved, for you to have a good experience, the customer get refunded, and for us to know that we screwed up. We care very deeply about making sure good quality parts go out the door. So if we make a mistake, we want it as easy as possible for people to tell us that there was a mistake. And we want to incentivize them to tell us about the mistake. So we'll just pay you back if there was an issue with it, any issue at all. You might have unreasonable standards and be a jerk. That's okay. We need unreasonable standards to make sure we are better than anybody else out there. But the instant and unquestioned refund policy is very unique and not available on any other print service on the planet, let alone print on demand. But it's something that allows our users to have very good security with us and be sure that if they're working with us, we're working for them. So those are three interesting features that people don't really realize are around. You can make really valuable parts by adding in third-party pieces like wireless chargers. You have custom insert cards, and you have an instant refund policy. So if we ever screw up, you have us on the hook. So that's how it all works, guys. If there are, let me know down in the comments if there's other features inside of Portals that you don't think people are really aware of, and let me know, because the Teleport 3D print service is a really amazing product and we've worked on for a long time. I recommend going and checking it out. It takes like 30 seconds to start selling something on Portals. Have a great day, everybody. All right, there's that second video. Hold on, let me update this. Chat, I'll get to you guys if you have a question. Get the question in. All right. POD channel. Okay. Anything? All right, nothing. Sweet. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We've been doing these streams. We've been doing these streams like daily for the last couple of days, but generally we do this a stream every week. It generally comes after the podcast on Sunday. So if you guys are around and on YouTube about midday Mountain Standard Time or so, then I'll be back around that. So if you have any questions or need any help with your teleport stores or your portal stores, I'm always available to help there. One quick question here. How would you prioritize modeling a bunch of things based on if someone else would want it versus time to design? Totally on you. Depends on what the product is. It has to do with the value of the product. If you have no sales right now, you need to model 50 or 20 different things and just get them out. And your time is not worth anything if you don't have any sales. Once you have sales, then you can start to value your time and decide, is this the type of product to work on? Quite frankly, I wouldn't recommend modeling. Like if you're valuing your time, a monthly membership on MakerWorld for a commercial license is like $6 to $10. So unless you're working for like less than $10 an hour, you shouldn't be modeling an item. You should be paying $10 and then going and getting 20 items that you can start selling in that first month and test them out on Portals or Etsy or something else. So that's the thing to do. Maker 209, what's up, dude? We're just about to wrap it up. You're here too late, but that's the last of it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn it out. So thanks all for watching. Good to see y'all. Stop by the next time if we're doing it again. Should be back up again here this Sunday. Have a great day, everybody. All right.